It's been a little while since I've did a reply video, and mostly I've avoided doing them, but occasionally a hot take does come through that is so high in Fahrenheit but so low in IQ that you're just way too tempted to let it slide. But anyway, let's hear what this melted peanut has to say.
Well, I said this would happen, and, you know, somebody pick up the phone because I called it.
Sorry, it's just that Dunning-Kruger smugness. It's fucking overpowering. Nah. This is going to need Febreze.
So, Count Dankula's appeal got rejected. Twice. So, all I can say is, huh?
Yeah. Rejected from the Sheriff Appeal Court, which we were going to use as a stepping stone to get the case taken to the High Court, so a precedent could actually get set where people can't have their context ignored and get prosecuted over jokes that they make. But, I guess. But the fact that you are quite happy with the fact that a norm has now been set where people can have their context ignored and get prosecuted over jokes that they make just because it's happening to me, someone that you don't like, well, that kind of tells us the kind of man that you really are. In fact, no, I take that back. Man is far too generous. Slug. Slug's a lot more fitting.
At this point, the situation is just, to be honest, it's just completely stupid. Look, the guy is a complete, you know, he's an internet shitlord. He says things to basically gain attention and to basically be as offensive and edgy as he possibly can. When
it's funny. Not just for the sake of it. At the end of the day, my job is to make people laugh.
And in a way, he's succeeded in getting that attention. Now, here's the thing. I said, even before this even happened, 2 or 3 years ago, sooner or later, someone is going to say something that gets them in trouble, goes to jail, and there's a whole thing about it.
You're saying that as if you were giving us a warning all those years ago, sort of, oh, I tried to tell you, I tried to warn you this would happen, yet you're sitting here absolutely ecstatic and thrilled at the fact that it happened. I've made a few predictions in the past about terrible things that actually ended up coming true. The difference between you and me is I want to be wrong, and I don't act all cheerful, happy and gleeful when the terrible things I predict come true. I'm worried people are going to start thinking that you're a piece of shit because you really are not coming across well in this video.
Well, here's the whole thing about it. There has been an appeal. He has been rejected.
You seem to have completely skipped over why my appeal was rejected, you know, including the infamous appeal letter, which was based on nothing but feelings, unfounded claims, and it even contained a nice little threat to my lawyer. I just find it really, really strange how you're making a video to discuss my appeal being rejected, but you're not discussing at all why it was actually rejected. Funny that. So what I'm taking from that is you actually have no interest at all in discussing my appeal. You just want to gloat over the fact that it's been rejected just because it's happening to someone that you don't like. Fuck me, you really are not coming across well.
So what happens? Well, I think he said in his video he's got 3 months, I think, to pay the fine, or else he ends up back in court to ask why haven't you paid the fine. He's basically saying, I'm not going to pay it. So at that point, he's probably going to end up going to jail. So this is just ridiculous, because here's the thing. Count Dankula is not someone you should be supporting as this free speech martyr.
Yeah, you're not the arbiter of who people can or can't support, and given the extreme lack of intelligence in your video, we're all very fortunate that that's the case. Individuals themselves get to choose who they can or can't support. I would never say something along the lines of, no one should watch this melted peanuts videos, because at the end of the day, that's not up to me, so I would never say something so stupid.
What did he actually say that is so worthy of defending? It isn't at all.
Have you ever seen anyone miss the point as hard as this? Speech doesn't need to have a certain validity or purpose in order for it to be defended. All speech should be defended. For example, I think that your video is a gigantic pile of verbal diarrhea, but I still completely defend your right to make it. What you seem to be suggesting is that speech should have a certain grade placed on it beforehand before we decide whether or not it's worthy of defending. Almost like a kind of a points system. Who would be the arbiter of that? And also, what's the point threshold before the speech would be worthy of defending? I hope you're seriously not suggesting we introduce a speech spectrum, because there's already enough spectrum in this video. I'm really not sure what's going on here. Like, he started the video so smugly and confidently, yet he's not made anything that's even close to a valid point. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Why is this guy so stupid?
Recently, especially in the light of the actions of Israel, as you've seen the actions that have happened in Palestine on the Palestinians, especially Palestinians who have been peacefully protesting and basically been shot at and killed.
Ah, that's why. Labour voter.
There have been people who have voiced their opinions on this and expressed their opinions using their free speech and have either been let go from their jobs or universities.
Sadly, there were no sources for this posted in the description. Just him spelling martyr wrong. I did have a look myself and I could only find one example from 2014 where a university professor was fired over comments that he made on Gaza, but I could find nothing else really that supported what this guy said. But if you want to show your sources, we can have a chat. Just to let it be known, I don't actually support people being fired from their jobs or kicked out of university for their political opinions, but just to go back to the point that you made earlier, Peanut, you said that people shouldn't support me because you've deemed the things that I say to be of no value, yet you are now crying because people that you like are not being supported because people have deemed what they say as having no value. It's a little bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it?
If you look at the statistics for people who have actually been affected by their free speech, more often than not, it's actually people on the left, not the right.
Well, there it is. The stupidest thing you'll hear all day. So go on then, show your work, show your sources, and even if the dog shit you're trying to say right now is true, I have seen the left themselves cheering for and championing these very things. So now that they are becoming victims of it, it's because this is the world that they built. But go on, please show your sources about how the left wing is having their free speech restricted more than the right wing. Please show me your fucking sources on that.
So where are you, these free speech, absolutists, these martyrs who want someone to support and champion? Why aren't you supporting these people who are legitimately criticising Israel's policy to the Palestinians and have been fired or let go as a consequence for expressing those opinions? Where have you been on that?
I love the fact that you are actively telling people not to support a certain individual for their freedom of speech, and then at the same time you have the fucking gall to ask people to support your freedom of speech. Mr. Peanut has become victim of the very thing that he's advocating for in this video, and he doesn't even realise. I have never seen a lack of self-awareness to this extent. Mr. Peanut is either an extremely good troll or an excellent example of why women shouldn't drink heavily while pregnant.
There are so many examples of clear free speech violations that you guys have just not been there before, have just completely ignored. You should not be supporting Dankula as some sort of free speech martyr. He is not. He had nothing to say. He had nothing political to say, as he is now trying to spin it as.
Oh, in the Nazi pug video I didn't have anything political to say. I never even claimed that I did. I just wanted to play a prank on my girlfriend. I do have plenty political to say now that I've been subject to these speech laws and outrage culture. You know, those things you were cheering on and laughing about earlier, but you then went on to complain about how people you like were being subjected to the same thing. Are you okay?
And what's the funny thing is he was on a radio show, and afterwards they had I can't remember, they had this woman on, they had a lawyer and someone from I think the council or something like that.
The woman was a journalist and free speech advocate from Spiked Online, and the council guy was Ephraim Borowski, the leader of the Scottish Council of Jews, not a man from the council. And the fact that you don't even remember the positions that these people hold during the interview, or even remember who they were, kind of lets us know that all the following points you're about to make about the interview are going to be very, very valid.
And they called it right. You know, this guy is just an idiot. He's a meme lord who basically said something edgy, and as a result has been punished for what he says.
You just said that they called it right, and then you didn't define what actual specific points that they got right, even though they were debating each other. So I'm just going to have to go ahead and assume that you think everything that they all said was correct because you didn't clarify at all. Well, the Spiked Online journalist actually says that I should never have been arrested or convicted at all, and like you said yourself earlier, they got it right. So I'm very, very happy that you agree with that statement, but that kind of nukes your entire video, doesn't it? Also, Ephraim actually says that what I did constitutes as animal abuse because apparently teaching your dog tricks is now animal abuse, you know. So for all you dog owners out there, if you've ever taught your dog to sit, stay, or roll over, I'm calling the RSPCA on your abusing arse right fucking now. Peanut man, come on, think your points through.
Now, here's the thing. I want free speech, but
there it is.
You have to admit, free speech is a double-edged sword. Just because you say something doesn't mean there might be consequences for you saying it.
I'm getting really, really sick of people making that point against me when it's not something that I've ever said, even though I've explained it so many times in so many videos. So let me try this and see if this works. I am absolutely fine with there being social consequences to the things that you say. I am not okay with there being legal consequences for the things that you say. This probably still won't work and people will still keep making that stupid fucking argument when I never even fucking said that.
And here's the thing. The consequences have been Count Dankula was found guilty, his appeal has been denied. He should just pay the money and just move on with his life.
So in other words, just accept these unjust laws and not protest against them? Just accept the unjust punishment that I shouldn't actually be getting. But what about the people that you were talking about earlier that you said we should be supporting, the ones that were being fired from their jobs and kicked out of university? Shouldn't they just accept their punishment and move on even though they deem it to be unfair? How come what you're saying right now doesn't apply to them? Oh yeah, that's right, it's because you're an unprincipled hypocrite, Peanut.
But he can't, because all this attention gets him more moolah.
I've already been mentioned in worldwide news. Pretty much every major YouTuber has done a video on me. Everyone who could have spoken about me has already spoken about me, and everyone who could hear of me has already heard of me. So where the fuck do I go from there? Like, what more exposure could I possibly get than that? My channel is as big as it's ever going to get. Like, honestly, what more exposure can I gain?
If he wants to go to prison, because he's seen, recently, the whole Tommy Robinson debacle. Tommy Robinson, while he was in prison, basically got a massive payday.
I've already destroyed this stupid argument on Twitter, but I'm more than happy to do it here in a video right now, because here's the thing, Peanut. Here's the thing. I actually have a bunch of paid events that I'm booked in for going into next year. One of them, which contractually I'm not allowed to talk about, is a fucking major thing that would give me way more exposure than going to prison ever could. Me going to prison means I miss out on these, which means that I don't actually get paid for doing the events, and obviously I won't get the exposure that goes along with them, meaning it would actually cost me money and exposure to go to prison. Me going to prison is actually a fucking loss for me. And obviously the most important thing as well is I could actually miss my wedding. And also, if I go to prison, I could end up going to prison for so long that my channel just withers away into absolute irrelevancy. So when I get released, I'm coming out to absolutely nothing. And I'm more than happy to risk that to make the point that I want to make and not abandon my principles, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing. You have no evidence at all to support this point that you've made up because you don't like me. So what you've actually had to resort to is making up the thoughts that I have in my head to support your point, when there is no evidence whatsoever that those are the thoughts that I have in my head. You could get a job as a prosecutor.
So, for him going to prison isn't a something you should be worried about. He would probably be ecstatic about it.
Yes, I'm so looking forward to being in a 6x8 for 23 hours a day. Terrible food, endless monotony, getting the shit kicked out of me, possibly getting stabbed or even boiling sugar water thrown in my face. Not to mention being torn away from my family for a very long period of time. I am so thrilled and looking forward to that, Peanut.
Because if he does go, it will be a short-term prison sentence.
Actually, they can re-sentence me to the full sentence of my original conviction, which is up to a year, plus time added on for refusing to pay the fine.
He can basically do what Tommy Robinson's been doing recently and say, oh, it was so terrible, all these bad things happened to me in prison. I was, you know, mentally tortured.
That's true, because none of that's going to happen to me, because prison is very well known for being a wonderful, magical and fun place.
And then, you know, he gets a massive payday out of it, because there'll all be these idiots who are like, oh my god, free speech, but bizarrely nowhere else when actual free speech has been, you know, infringed upon.
I love how the actual reason so many people were annoyed by my case has completely escaped this guy, but given his complete lack of intelligence, I'm really not surprised. People weren't pissed off over what I said being the subject of conviction. People were pissed off at the fact I was making a joke. The fact I was joking is why people are pissed off. They're not defending the thing that I said. They are defending the fact that I made a joke. That's why so many free speech advocates are pissed off about this case. The joke is what matters, not what I said.
Remember, Count Dankula joined UKIP, a party that's in the past prosecuted people for making a meme about their manifesto.
Sadly, again, no sources supporting this at all. I did have a look online myself and I couldn't actually find anything. But if anybody actually finds evidence of this, can you let me know, please?
Sound familiar to anyone?
But Peanut, you said yourself that these people should just accept their punishment and move on, so what's the problem?
And yet, Dankula's a part of that party. Odd, that.
Yes, because the Tories, Labour, Lib Dems and SNP have done so much to defend free speech. I mean, it's not like the SNP are trying to keep outdated speech laws. It's not like actual Labour Party members turn up at events, act violently and scream at people to intimidate opposition. It's also not like Labour members to contact the sponsors of certain people to try and get them deplatformed. I mean, it's not like the Tory government right now actually has people in jail over tweets. You're right. You're right. We obviously have nothing to fucking worry about.
At the end of the day, at least take this away. If you want someone to be your free speech martyr, choose someone better than Count Dankula.
If you want someone to be your free speech martyr, can you guys please pick someone that I like and align with politically? Because by you guys applying your principles equally, I'm not getting my way and it's making me very sad. Don't care, Virgin!
Because Count Dankula's got nothing actual intelligent to say, you know, poignant, you know, something that would actually mean something for his speech.
That projection is also very strong. Febreze. I actually do videos showing people the warning signs of authoritarianism and also to help them identify when people are trying to take their freedom of speech away. Also, just the other week I actually did a video as a warning to people who support restricting freedom of speech that these restrictions would one day be used against them. And guess what happened just a few days later? But the difference between me and you, Mr. Peanut, is I don't want to be right and I don't like it when I'm right. And I'm not a smug cunt about being right when bad things are happening to people.
You know, find someone better than him, please, because he's just not worth it.
That's for people to decide themselves, not you. And in this video, you've kind of confirmed that you are a massive hypocritical bootlicker, so you might not be the guy to listen to when it comes to freedom of speech.
You know, he's not worth the hill going on to die for. Same for Tommy Robinson. And we've learned, and we've seen that now. Look, Tommy Robinson was convicted for contempt. Well, he was arrested, well, for breach of the peace, sentenced to contempt of court. The appeal process basically said, look, procedure wasn't followed, which was a victory for procedure, not for freedom of speech, because they admitted in his appeal that he was guilty. He will now basically go through this entire process again. He will plead guilty again, and he will go to jail again.
Actually, procedure was so badly done that a senior judge condemned the conviction, reversed it, and the original judge could possibly even be getting disciplined for the fucking thing. That is how much of a fuck up it was. You obviously seem quite content with that though, just because it happened to someone that you don't like. Remember, Mr. Peanut, if you lick the boot for long enough, you'll eventually be under it.
So, guys, what's going to happen with Count Dankula? He's probably going to go to prison. He's an idiot for doing so.
I'm protesting against unjust laws that restrict freedom of speech, and you seem to be against that. Who was the idiot again?
Just pay the fine, dude. You've got hundreds of people on Patreon who went, yeah, we'll pay your £800 fine for you.
No, none of them have said that. Not a single one of my patrons has actually said that to me, so I'm really not sure where you got that information from. All of them have actually supported me in what I'm doing.
And, you know, I think you got at least about over, like, £1,000 for it. You know, just pay the fine. You're not going to take any financial hit.
Oh, I know. I'm not going to take any kind of financial hit. I mean, it's almost like it's not about the money.
So, this basically comes up to one point and leaves me with this. You're just someone who is desperately seeking attention, because when you do, you get money for it.
What do you think you're doing right now?
And currently, you're milking this for everything you can. This is not a freedom of speech issue. At all.
Man sent to jail over joke. Not a free speech issue. 200 IQ.
Just like Tommy Robinson, this is just another non-issue that people on the right are going, oh my god! It's not an issue. Not at all.
I know all of you are a hell of a lot stupider for having seen that, and I do apologise, that's on me. I've just really missed doing reply videos, especially to videos with this level of stupidity. Fuck me, I've missed it, and yeah, I did actually enjoy that. This was also a good way to actually nuke all of the arguments that people keep repeating at me on Twitter. But anyway, Peanut, if you're going to start a video with that level of smugness, you should maybe actually have some clue of what you're actually talking about first, because fuck me, that was fucking cringe.
It's Count Dankula on YouTube. Everybody should subscribe.